Welcome to the Crime Alley Cast. I forget which episode 30 something,
30 something.
Which we're all 30 somethings, aren't we? So,
Nope.
welcome. I am your host, Zubaz. All the way to my left, we've got Mr. Costly. Costly, say hello.
Hello. I actually have 1 month till I'm at 30 something. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we're a big shot over here, young guy. Next to him, we have a definite 30 something, and that is Mr. Jatu Rars.
Hey, everybody.
And then it is not DaBoy to my right, per usual. We'll address that in a moment. But to my right, we have from the 1500 Doomsday. Welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here, guys. And yes, I'm 30 something. You could probably tell by the beard. I won't give it away exactly, but mid 30s. All right.
I like it.
Zubaz, before we went live, you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get some glasses," and I thought you meant like looking glasses, but you put on some shades.
These are I have aviators in every single color now. I have the entire rainbow of aviators, and I have found that they just help me stare at a screen for a little bit longer if I need. But also, I mostly just wear them like at the pool. So real 70s vibe. We will briefly address the absence of a one DaBoy. I think our longtime listeners will have seen that he was not on last month's episode about the Tournament of Legends, and then not on this month's episode either. And we will confirm that he is suspended pending investigation.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's only right.
Yeah.
There are strong internet rumors that he has done what is called pulling a Hans Niemann. That what they've done in the chess world. You can look that up on your own. But
serious,
this is
a serious thing.
DaBoy may have used illicit and very, in my opinion, perverse and inappropriate measures to get an advantage in the Tournament of Legends. If you're curious, we will let you on your own look up Hans Niemann and Magnus Carlsen and figure that out. But that is the exact thing that DaBoy has been accused of. If he is cleared of those allegations, we will bring him back to the show hopefully soon.
He did tell me he would do whatever it takes to try to win, and I didn't think much of it when he said it, but now looking back, it all makes sense.
You know what the crazy part is? It still didn't work.
Well, So let's get into it. Before now, when we have a guest here, we've had several guests. We had Berger, we had Kitty, which is one of our most popular episodes ever. We have Doomsday here, and we would normally hop in, do a little bit of a guest interview, but probably the main reason, in addition to just loving Doomsday, who's a wonderful alliance mate, we want to know what happened in raids. That's the main reason you're here. So we're gonna talk about raids first, and then we're gonna dive into the interview with Doomsday. I think the first, just to get out of the way, congratulations to the Kingslayer, Doomsday. So for those of you that are not aware, Doomsday was part of the alliance that defeated the Owls. The Owls had won 32 consecutive raids, and this was the first time they did not. They were defeated by the New Gods, and we, as the 1500, we had Doomsday kind of to go out as a little bit of a free agent for just last raid. So why don't you tell us how this came to be, what who was working behind the scenes, and then we'll take the interview from there.
Sure. I mean, nothing fancy about it, guys. I mean, if you've been around BCL long enough, you probably know that super teams have always tried to get built by somebody, and sometimes they're successful. I mean, sometimes they get that far and actually getting a group of 30 people together and get demolished, and then sometimes it's hard enough putting a group of 30 guys and gals.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talks about super teams, and like I consider the Owls to be a super team.
Yeah,
they constantly poach from the top alliances, and So it's that doesn't bother me. So I'll ask this. So this was the September raid or the end of August raid technically that you guys pulled it off. When did the planning for this begin?
I didn't get into it until maybe like springtime,
Oh wow, okay.
March, April or so. There was a one particular raid where I was pushing for World's Finest. I had already won World's Finest in solo, and I was pushing against Eldion from the New Gods, and we were neck and neck during that raid. And I just remember we were kind of messaging each other back and forth, and we both ended up losing the raid, so that wasn't fun. But yeah, so we kind of just connected. We started chatting up a little bit, and I kind of just asked him. I said, "Hey, man, if we can get 28 other guys that are maniacs, just like you and I hit solo, let's get together one day and hit an alliance boss. I think if we were to get together, like that, we would definitely give the Owls a run for their money." So, he said, "Well, as a matter of fact, we've been talking about it too." So it kind of just grew from there. Like I said, it was nothing fancy. We tried to keep it kind of secret, but obviously that didn't work. Word got around pretty fast. Like nothing stays secret around here anyway, so we tried our best. But yeah, I mean that in a nutshell, that's what it was.
Nice. And so the alliance that actually won, the name of the alliance was New Gods. If you had to estimate approximately how many of that alliance were, long-term New Gods members, and how many were, mercenaries, basically, for this particular raid.
New Gods, they have a lot of heavy hitters, man. I want to say maybe 2/3 of them were New Gods, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
20, 22 were New Gods, and then we all kind of just filled in the rest there.
Okay.
So I mean they're a heavy alliance.
Nice. So I'll ask the next question. One of the things that came up during the raid itself was how effective Question was in that raid, and Question at the time, she had just debuted because the month had turned over during the raid. We know she was bugged. She had a damage modifier bug that has since been fixed by the devs, but at the time was still in play. I mean, how much do you think that Question, her being there, her being bugged, players purchasing her, what role did she have in you guys winning raids?
She was everything, I think, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean she was the key. And we had a Discord chat going, and I was kind of the one. I was being the Question salesman. I was pitching for WB. Hey guys, it's Question. Get Question or we're toast.
Right.
So wait, what did she do? Like, what was she doing in the raids?
Just the crit value.
So the bug that she had was that her crit, the application of her crit chance and crit damage ups. Mm-hmm. We don't know the exact math, but it seems like instead of like the usual crit modifier, it was modifying 10 times.
Ooh.
And so that actually overlapped with Siege. The first couple days of Siege, you could use Question, and she was still doing that in PvP matches, and it was like easy mode. It was absurd. But so it was the combination of that bug, which was creating these ridiculous crit damage for everything, with the fact that she calls so many assists and gives so much turn meter. So her 2 calls a double assist. Her 3 gives a ton of turn meter, a ton of crit ups, that kind of thing. And then her passive advances team turn meter and again calls assist. So she's going to be, I think, a very quality raid tune, even without that modifier. But in this particular instance, it was wild. So, I mean, do you think most of your alliance wound up purchasing her, you think?
I think so. Okay. 2/3, maybe three quarters.
You didn't have to go that high with her, right? Like, you had some folks using her at, like, R2?
No. R2, yeah. I mean, I took her up to L2. I was one of the first people to get her.
Which...
I thought that was...
To be fair and to be clear to people that, like... there's one of those things. I think me and Zubaz have both been part of the Owls when they've done like their 32 raids before that. We weren't.
We never lost
all of them, but we were there
we
for a long
never
time.
lost.
Yeah. So, but what I'm getting at is, don't take it like, oh, the New Gods only won because they bought Question. No, like they had to buy Question because I guarantee you every single Owl bought Question.
Oh, I
Like,
imagine that's
and
true.
and so it's like, it just by knowing those guys and knowing how they work and how they do raids, it's always been one of those things. It's like, and I'm so glad that like, it's being like an X out. Like, I'm glad they lost finally, because like then can we finally like get away from the, oh, the Owls are cheating or they only ever win because of this. It's like they win because they're insane, and like you guys won because you got 30 more insane people than like it's what you have to do to get that number one spot is like, I don't see it as worth it. So like
Doomsday, everything you did wasn't worth it. Just
well, no, but
your
it's like,
accomplishment means
like,
nothing.
No,
it's worth it to go through it one time.
Yeah.
No.
That's
That's
all
what I'm
I'm
saying. The
giving
exception is to take down, to be the Kingslayer. It's worth it, right? But it's like why the Owls do it month after month. I don't understand at all. Like it's
yeah. Oh, it's insane, man. It's pretty remarkable.
Doomsday, let me ask you this. So, I mean, I wasn't following super closely, but I was in communication with the few Owls that I speak to on a regular basis for a variety of reasons. And my understanding was that it was sometime approximately Saturday evening. So this is now the third day of raids, about Saturday evening, that they finally more or less conceded. And we're just like, hey, we're going to tap out here. What was it like kind of behind the scenes over at New Gods headquarters when you realized that like their score was not keeping pace, that you had finally sealed the deal? What were the emotions? What were the comments? What was going on over there?
We weren't sure.
Yeah.
I mean, when they stopped hitting, it was midnight my time.
Okay.
Kind of stopped hitting, but we weren't sure. I mean, it's the Court of Owls, Right. It's we said, look, they're slowing down. We cannot slow down. We need to keep going. We need to pile on, and before you know it, we're up 100 million, and then it became 200 million. And people in the chat were like, we can't keep our, we got to keep our foot in the pedal here, because it's the Court of Owls here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, I mean, and
we were expecting,
yeah. I mean, to point to for Question, the Owls in this raid set what would have been the highest score of all time by leaps and bounds. And so New Gods have the record by even more than that, because, you guys were number one. But yeah, I mean, like, they shattered the old previous record for points, and it was because of Question's modifiers, which was nuts. All right, so then you got your rewards. You got your 5 rebirth crystals. Costly just kind of touched on this, but was it worth it? Like, what are you thinking here? Would you ever do it again? Like, how do you feel about, now that you've done it?
It was very tiresome, man. I can't imagine doing that, consistently. Like, it's insane, the amount of work that you put into it, and the lack of sleep, man. I must have slept probably 8 hours total the entire weekend.
Oh my God, that sounds just so terrible.
I slept probably, I thank the gods that we were off, here in the States, we were off that Monday. So,
right.
I was able to catch up on some sleep. But yeah, I can't imagine doing that consistently, man. It's a lot of work. It feels great to finally have pulled it off,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just, sometimes, and like I told a couple other people, like, some of us just have a competitive itch we need to scratch every once in a while. And,
that makes sense.
I'm glad I finally got mine, and don't want to do it again.
You have had, you're one of, we believe, 2 people ever. We think it's just you and Bolsey who have done World's Finest Solo and now World's Finest Alliance. Which is harder?
I think Alliance is harder because of the coordination. that you know, you need to constantly be on Discord. You need to communicate with everybody. It seemed like 24 hours a day.
Which did you sleep less and everything? Like, do you sleep less doing solo or Alliance, you think?
Alliance, definitely Alliance.
Okay.
Well, when I won World Finest solo, I didn't do it with, you know, a particularly high score. It was like 1.5 billion or something. You know, it's a high score, but compared to some of these recent scores that we've had, I mean, it's kind of peanuts, you know.
Yeah,
so I was actually able to sleep that weekend. I got my 5 hours of sleep, 6 hours, and it wasn't bad. I just grinded all day. Right. But Alliance definitely is that much more effort that you need to put into it, and it feels better, honestly. Like I was telling everybody, it just feels so much better than the solo. Like I couldn't care less about solo anymore. That Alliance win was everything. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How many gems did you spend? Did you have to dip into your 0 gems? All right.
I had, thanks to the 1500, I was able to pile up a sweet number of Alliance energy, almost 20,000.
Oh my god!
I went through 10,000 of that. Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean that if you've built that up over a long period of time, and I think that is something that I know some of the owls pointed to. And for the most part, and I said this when I was on the WRLO, for the most part, most of the owls that I saw were actually very congratulatory. They were really chill about having lost and everything. There was a couple that made a lot of excuses and complaints and stuff, but for the most part, they were very, very good about it. But they said it was kind of like it was perfect storm, and that they had been weakened from the month before. So I think was it Lazarus or something that was the alliance that the month prior had challenged them. And like, I know like Loot and Burger were talking about having spent over 400,000 gems the previous month to a point, and they had 0 energy left rolling into this one. Was that something that you all knew about and took into account, or was that just like happy coincidence?
No, I mean, I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, we knew that the owls were running low on energy because it made it pretty public. You know, if you have to spend a couple 100,000 gems to maintain that means you're low on gem, or you're low on alliance energy. So, it wasn't a secret, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lazarus pushing, kind of expanded that for us a little bit. We're like, okay, they've got to be a little tired after that.
Right.
And we already had a team assembled, so let's just do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to segue part of the interview to a more controversial part of the issue as well, and it's really going to be a question for Joshuars. Joshuars, you are the leader of the 1500.
Yeah.
And we had a member who had to ask about potentially leaving and doing this and coming back, and you've been awfully quiet about that issue. Some alliance leaders might not go for it. They may say, "Hey, like, would you just want the glory and then like ditch us when we need you most?" What has gone through your mind about this?
This is gonna be really funny. So, Doomsday, do you remember? Do you remember me making some posts like in the chat saying like, "Oh, I love everyone," and the great. I don't remember what I typed. But
yeah.
I made some messages.
You came down from your hill, and then you went right back. Yeah, I remember.
It was about loyalty or something.
Yeah, everyone's loyalty.
Yeah.
So
I figured that was for me. Yeah.
So what was happening was Zubaz had let me know. It's like, hey, Doomsday is gonna go jump, and I'm thinking like, that's cool, but it kept like Zubaz brought up once and then brought up again. I'm like, why isn't Doomsday asking me about it? And it's just Zubaz letting me know that I'm too high up the mountain. I can't connect with the common man anymore.
Very unapproachable leader.
My fellow 1500 members. Doomsday, I was so hoping that you were gonna message me and say, hey, I got something to talk to you about, because I was gonna hit you like, oh, Doomsday, before you say anything, I just want to let you know that I can always count on you to be so loyal and stick around. And I was really gonna try to guilt trip you right before, but you did it. But that was, oh man, I was ready for it. No, I was so happy. Like Doomsday messaged me and he was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I was like, yeah, man, go for it. Like come back. You can always have a spot in the 1500. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
What was also funny though was who was the other one that was gonna do it? It was
Was it Merciless maybe?
was it No, it was someone else. No. It was I forget who it was. I have it in my chat somewhere, but I can't pull it up right now. But they had messaged me and it's like, hey, I just want to check things over. That Doomsday's we're gonna be moving over, and he brought it up to you, and I was like, Doomsday hasn't said a single word to me. I was like, what are you talking about? You guys are leaving? And then he's like, oh no.
Oh no, yeah. And then he messages me. He's like, are you sure did you run this by the officers? Or I said, yeah. And they're probably just messing with me.
Yeah. I was gonna mess with a little bit. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. It was. Come on, this is the 1500. We're not. We can go.
I know we're chill. I mean, the only reason I bring it up is because there were alliances that were angry about having their members be approached. Like we are professional with tampering or something like that. I was like, this is insane. This is a mobile game, and let's remember.
I can't stand when I hear these other people are like, "Oh no, poaching! You can't come to our alliance and ask someone." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I can't with that. I think that's silly.
Yeah.
Doomsday, you got blacklisted. I heard. Someone is keeping a blacklist out there.
I did. I got blacklisted.
Which to me sounds insane. But yeah, tell us, what did you get blacklisted for?
I reached out to the wrong people, I guess. And again, I thought I was being careful. I thought I was. I didn't ask too many people. I may have probably approached five or six folks, and two of them turned out to be no-goes, and yeah. It was pretty intense because I was very careful with what I said. It definitely wasn't, and if they end up hearing this, it wasn't poached by any means. It was,
wait a second. What happened?
I got blacklisted.
He got blacklisted in the book. I don't know if you know this official book going around.
Yo, wait, hold on. Sorry, look, I love everybody, but whoever this is, touch grass. Right? Holy crap. Okay,
yeah.
So
it was actually me.
With my wording.
I was the one. Doomsday approached me about it. I was like,
I knew it.
This immediately.
I knew it.
No, I actually, in perfect honesty, Doomsday did ask. He was like, "Hey, are you in?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not."
Doomsday
but then
ask me one time.
I did say to Doomsday, I was just like, I don't think you're going to be able to do it. I was like, Godspeed. I hope you do, but I don't think you can. So I stand corrected.
And that's actually, if I can explain myself, Josh.
I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it.
That's actually why. That's why I approached Zubaz, because he's an exile. He knows what it takes. So I said, you know what? And this was back, when it was still kind of in its infancy. We didn't want to let too many people know. So I approached Zubaz and I said, hey man, do you think they're beatable? And he said no. He's like, I generally don't think so.
I would have said the same thing.
Yeah. And then as far as with you, I never in a million years would have thought that you would have wanted to join in on this. So and honestly, I didn't know how to tell Josh. I didn't know how to tell Josh.
I couldn't, my fellow 1500.
Look, I'm sitting over here like, hold on a second. So you didn't ask Josh because he was not an XL. Where was my message?
Awesome. We've seen your raid number.
Or DaBoy.
You have to start doing alliance bosses before somebody would ask you to do that.
No, I was gonna say, I know exactly why I didn't get a message. You can see what I like. I'll put it this way: back when I was in the Owls, I did more bosses than I do now. But
you have to come on.
But it was I was by no means the engine behind that beast. Okay, it was.
Hey, all that matters, when me and Costly were both Owls, we never lost. So.
Yep.
I do remember this was a while. Maybe this was when you guys first started. Chosen way back when.
Chosen's been trying to do this for 4 years.
Oh my God, Chosen for so long. He just wants to do this the thing, and then he had approached me, and Chosen's my boy, and then he hounded me 1 month, and I was like, look, Chosen, if you get it done, like if you get the members, you get enough people, I will do it. I will jump in, and I will, do as many alliance hits as I can. But it never happened. I don't know. I think it's just because, like you said, it's just getting to that point of organizing 30 people to be all on the same page. And then that's
half the battle. Yeah, honestly, that was with me getting blacklisted and all this other stuff. I'm like, the road to world's finest is like you have to go through the community first before you actually get to the owls.
Just hearing this,
I don't know if you've been told this, but I do have confirmation that due to some back scenes, little trade-offs and this and that, especially with our absentee DaBoy here, you have actually been removed from the blacklist. Did they inform you that?
I did. Yeah, I heard about that.
That is also insane that anybody had to inform you about that, but it's still worth mentioning.
It was a written letter that had to be sent. And
oh man, well that is awesome. Yeah, let's move on. Let's
wait. I do have one question based on that real quick. Do you guys think this is gonna change up rates? Like, do you think there's gonna be more alliances that are gonna think they can take down the owls? Do you think maybe the owls are finally gonna realize they don't have to win every single month, that they can recoup energy and stuff? Like, do you think?
I think so. I mean, we did know, and it was actually funny because Hate Mail, Ballsy, Hot Guy, a couple of the owls that are in a lot of the Discords, they had kind of gone out of their way and tagged way too many people about how they were going hard, all caps, hard during the August raid, and that they would be taking off September. And so then they went hard and lost. And so now I guess they're probably still taking off September. But from what I gather from speaking to at least some of them, like they're hopefully approaching it with a much healthier, like we don't need to do this every month. And that probably will embolden some other alliances.
Because it was one of those things too, especially from being friends with a lot of those guys and knowing kind of what the mindset was. A lot of it had to do with the fact that it was like, I mean, you'll hear M4 talk about the rebirth crystals and stuff, but on the other end of it too, it was just the pride of never having been beat yet and having that streak going. So like now that the streak's broken, I would almost see that as an opportunity to breathe. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's like the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And in baseball, a pitcher has a no go in a perfect game. They're all stressed out, and then once that hit gets given up, they kind of relax, and they
So, all right, well that's awesome. Let's again, congratulations. Welcome back to the 1500, but well done. And let's talk about another happy subject. Let's talk about you, Doomsday. I
gotta switch my Chirons.
All right.
Chiron.
Switch to Chirons here.
Oh, the word of the day.
Yeah, word of the day.
Yay for Doomsday. All right. So first off, why Doomsday? What's the deal?
No reason whatsoever, man. It was I had Sir Pac-Man for the first couple of years. Pac-Man was just a nickname that I had growing up because I ate pretty much everything in sight. So all my friends were like, "Dude, you eat everything." I'm like Pac-Man. So that was my nickname. But then I don't know. It just Doomsday sounded cool, so I was like, all right. It kind of mirrors my style of play.
It is. Yeah.
I just kind of mirrors my style of play. I just grind and get madder and madder as I go. So I'm not good at I've tried the whole siege thing. The world, believe it or not, I've tried World's Finest, but that aspect. I find myself being better at like the grinding aspect of the game. So I think Doomsday kind of personified that a little bit.
Nice. Is he like your favorite character from the comics, or do you have another one?
I would probably say Batman. Honestly, I'm cliche, but I grew up on Batman. That's it.
Okay. And who's your favorite character in the game?
can't really pinpoint one. Maybe like Connor. Connor's been fun.
Connor has been
I know. I would have. Yeah, I would have loved to have DaBoy on so I could tell him how fun Connor is, man. Like I'm having a lot of fun with him.
You have RB5 Connor, right?
I do. Yeah,
Oof.
I have this thing. I'm trying to RB5 like all Kryptonians, and he's half Kryptonian. I needed a more RB5 physicals, so he was the perfect one.
How many RB5s do you have?
I think I have like 10.
Oh my
10 or
god!
11.
I'm gonna pull your roster up here. I gotta take a look. See what
You
we're.
got you got another half one. For getting those 5 rebirth crystals from C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the opposite problem I do, where I'm drowning in physical RB5s and I need more like others? So
Yeah.
Connor's your picture.
I brought up a lot of greens. Yeah.
So tell us just like a little bit, like how did you start even playing this game? Where'd you find it? How long have you been playing? Like, give us a little bit of background.
I've been playing since I want to say like December of 2018, something like that. So I didn't start playing at launch. I know a couple of, hopefully everybody did, but I don't know. I just kind of but I had no idea this game existed, and one day I was just kind of scrolling through Google Play, and I saw Injustice, which I enjoyed, but then I also started playing this one, and this one caught my attention a little more. So
Nice.
I started building my roster here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing, like I said, nothing too fancy, man. It was just, yeah.
What alliances had you bounced around before landing in the greatest alliance of all time? Like where were you at before the 1500?
So I had like a top 100 alliance for a while. That's where I started, and then I made my way into the UJLA COA alliance with them. Yeah, so they they eventually became, what was it, the Black Lantern Corps, and then the Kingdom of Atlantis. So I was with them during that whole that whole transition. And then after that I went to the 1500.
Nice. And that
Merciless opened the door there.
Did he? Nice.
Right,
was he in that alliance with you?
He was. Yeah.
Okay.
We were buddies back then, and
nice.
there was I don't know if I want to get into the controversy there, but we left. A lot of us left for the same reason.
Right.
And then I was looking for a home, and Merciless, I said, "Hey, Merciless, where'd you go?" "I'm with 1500. Well, let me in, man.
That works.
Yeah.
That'll do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been here for a while, which is great. We're always happy to have you. You kill it, obviously, during raids. Every month we can kind of expect Doomsday to put up some big numbers, which is awesome. And also like really, really cool to like hang out with it and stuff. So that's been great.
Likewise.
Which Discord is your favorite Discord to be in?
1500, man.
Oh, yeah,
by leaps and bounds.
Let's get a little specific now. I know a lot of the listeners won't know exactly what this means, and we cannot reveal all. But what is your favorite channel in the 1500 Discord?
You're gonna put me on the spot. General chat, man. That's where it goes down. Honestly.
All right.
Hey,
the memes are hilarious, but the general chat is always.
I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize about the 1500 is the access to our Discord. Like that is, I feel like if you get to our alliance, you get access to our Discord. It is we have people from other alliances wanting to get. We got owls.
Too.
Yeah, scratching at the doors to get in, and
and then like very occasionally they will poach somebody from us, and it's the most treacherous thing that they do.
What M4 did that? I'm not gonna get into it.
Let's not get into it. Let's instead stick around Doomsday. We're gonna talk real quick.
Oh wait.
Go ahead.
Should we do the lightning questions now?
I thought we do them at the end.
We'll do them at the end. Yeah. All right, lightning questions that come at the end.
So we're gonna handle the month that we're in, though, kind of lightning style here. We're gonna keep these quick because we did really want to focus on the raid situation. But let's do some quick hits here. New tunes, Flatline.
I told you it read where I'm.
The did rhyme. I know Costly, you have her RB1.
Yep, I have bought up enough for RB3.
Yes.
I currently have RB1.
Tell us a little bit about your Flatline experience.
So
You don't mean when you had a heart attack. I mean, her.
Yeah, no. So I wasn't too sure about her, like when they first announced and everything. Like the kit looked good and everything, but I was just like, I don't know how I feel. I didn't know if I was gonna go for her question. And then I play tested her literally at like I think L3, and instantly went back into the shop and bought RB1 right then, and then bought RB3 later, a couple days later. And yes, she's bugged in a positive and in a negative way. But even without those bugs right now, like her first three abilities play into each other so well. As far as like the kit just feeding the stamina ups and the crit ups and the crit damage ups just into her, and like she gets ridiculously tanky pretty quickly. And that's before even her passive that's going to give more stamina ups to her and the team is working. And it's like I streamed last week kind of showing her off a little bit, and there was some really interesting fights where it was like she should have died and I kept her alive against like an RB4 Aquaman. I've even killed like a couple different Aquamans with her. That's part of like the bleed bug, but it's like you can kind of still get an idea of how that's going to work even with the bug happening, because it is still going to be a crazy passive even like, you know, after they fix it. And
if they fix it.
Wait, what is going on with Flatline?
So
do you not use her at all,
Josh? I've used her in a couple of Siege matches, and I just pulled her up on my screen down here, and I realized, and this is
apply the points.
I have to apply any points. I'm this is second time I've done that this Siege. What's the bugs? And
okay,
also give me a legendary order, because I have 3 points to get.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No,
is it?
Okay. I'll look in a second for a legendary order once somebody else is talking, but let me go over the bugs real quick. So basically her last passive is supposed to double all bleeds on bleeding enemies, is what it's supposed to do at the end of her turn at a 50% chance.
Okay, I see that.
What it's currently doing, from what I understand, Zubaz, did you guys play test this at all? I know that somebody came into my chat when I was streaming, and they said basically, I think it was Yitra.
Yitra thinks he has it solved.
Yeah, he was saying basically what it's taking is one person who's bleeding and tripling their bleeds and putting it across all characters.
Yeah.
And so that's
take the 5 first. 5, 3, 4, 1, 2.
So that's the bug that's happening, which it's like the bug's insane. But my point is, even after they fix it, if they fix it, that's still going to be an insane passive, doubling all bleeds. And then it's basically both of her passives aren't working. So the other passive is she is going to give, is it 6, I believe?
Apply 6 stamina ups on all
6
allies.
stamina ups to all allies at the end of her turn. That's insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, and that's not working right now.
So they're not getting stamina ups.
No. And then there's one other part. Let me see.
The Flatline kills any enemy, she gains 50% turn meter up.
That's working. So so the last passive, the debuffs that's supposed to go out with it, that's also not working. At least not that I've seen. But her, like, even though if you go up to her 1 or 2 and her 3, the buff she gains off of those, it plays into her kit so well. And like she gets tankier and tankier as the match is going. Like, not to like an infinite extent, because it's not infinite buffs, but like if you leave her alone, she will eventually be a problem. Because she's just going to start hitting harder and be harder to kill. Now, again, she's a green, so like we got Spectre, and Spectre just wipes everything away. But you know, it's still, she's pretty impressive. I've not that we do tiers here, but I've heard people.
We're cutting this off. But I will.
Wait, Costly, mate. You can say your tier. Say the tier.
No, I wasn't going to say what my tier is.
No.
I've heard people say somewhere around B, and I think she's higher than a B.
Well, go ahead and give us what your tier ranking is, and then in post edit that out.
Okay.
What I will say this, Costly. So we lightly might have hinted about this in our last episode, which is why folks should always listen to the Crime Alley cast.
Yeah.
But so in that episode, we did establish that you are a fan of the Williamson Robbins run, that you also enjoyed some. And what do you like Flatline as a character in the comics?
I mean, she's still a pretty new character, so it's like it's.
This is Robin's girlfriend, right?
Kind of.
He did that on purpose. So here's my problem. I don't want to spoil the Robin series. They're not as much of a couple as everybody thinks they are, in my opinion.
That's not what I
mean. And what I interpret from reading the book.
Does not ship them for the kids out there.
But would I like her as a possible like love interest for Damien? Yeah. Like I think she's a good character. She's interesting.
Well, okay, hold up though. We don't need to define a woman by her love interest in a man. I'm asking you, Costly, do you like her as a character?
So, I had a break in between there where I said I think she'd be an interesting love interest for Robin, and that I like her as a character. I think her and her, like how she works with Lord Deathman and everything, and like how they've been doing that in the comic is really interesting. And I'm Batman versus Robin just came out. I'm only halfway through it, but she is on the cover, so I don't know if she's gonna pop up in there.
What do you think of the art? You think they nailed it or no?
Yeah. No, it looks just like.
And were you disappointed in the same way that I kind of was, that her kit really doesn't in any way reflect like what she does in the comics?
Oh no, yeah. The animation on the 3 is amazing though.
It is very good. I do like that animation a lot. When I first saw it, I thought it was like a glitch. Like when I saw her go through, I was like, "Oh no, this is really problematic." And then it turned out I was like, "Oh no, that makes sense. That's the one move that she does in the comics."
So what does she do in the comics?
Because
she rips their heart out.
She literally showed up in a backup of Detective Comics, was like where she started, and then, or was it backup? It might not have been a backup, but it was. She started Detective, and then quite literally has like maybe 7 appearances throughout the Robin series, and that's all we have of her so far. So it's like, I'm surprised they were able to make a kit off of her that even kind of seems okay. And then it's like, and it's like the 3, the animation is like literally the thing she did the Robin in issue 1 of Robin. So it's like,
not to spoil too much, but it's in the context of this tournament that they fight in. And Robin is kind of analyzing her at one point, and she does this move where she rips out somebody's heart, and Robin literally says, "Oh, so that's your one move." And like they gave her like that one move in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. I mean, I think it turned out well. She's been effective in Siege.
I know we're not in the relevant media section, but that Robin book is finished. Like I said, Robin versus Batman just came out this last week. But when it comes out in trade, definitely pick up that book. It's a great book. If you want to get to know Flatline, like that's pretty much like where you're gonna get most of her stories so far. And yeah, that story, that whole book was amazing. Keep reading past issue 1, because when you read issue 1, it's great, but it just feels like it's a Mortal Kombat ripoff.
I love Mortal Kombat, so I'm in.
It's an okay series. I didn't love it as much.
Give me a legendary order,
but I don't. 53142.
53142.
5
okay.
3 4 1 2.
5. I just took 5. I'm taking 3.
5 3 4 1 2.
5 3 4. All right, it's done. I just took 3 legendary points just now.
Yeah, I actually would agree with that.
All right,
nice.
Boom, done.
All right, let's keep it going, because we're gonna try to speed through this. Let's do the questionator. These Chirons are horrible.
You don't give me names. This is what happens.
I have question at L2, and Doomsday, you also have her at L2.
Yep.
What have you thought of her, using her in Wraith and Siege and PvP in general, like after the wild success that she brought you the Raid Championship?
Yeah. No, she's great, man. I mean, even after the fix, she's still doing a lot of things. I call this month like the month of the utility character. You know, it's her, and it's Poison and Penguin. But anyway, question's been great. I like the taunt that she puts on. Like I said earlier, I use her anytime I see Enchantress.
Yeah.
I automatically bring her in to get those. Yeah. to get those immunities off her, and then the taunt is really good. It helps a lot because I see a Spectre, I put the taunt on him. He's going in no time. So, and then just obviously the crits that she gives the team and the turn meter, she's great. I have no, I mean, L2, that's really all. If anybody is out there listening, L2 is really all you need.
Yeah.
But
I said that in chat.
About rebirthing her, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've never felt comfortable bringing and so I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't really do Siege. I'm doing Siege this month. I'm currently top 10, and I, not for World's Finest, didn't have any interest in it, but I'm doing top 10. And so whenever I do compete in Siege, I don't like to bring anybody that is not at least L80 and like L4 minimum. Yeah. Like that's like my minimum comfort level. And I have Question at L70. Sorry, Gear 11, level 70, L2, and I have zero problem bringing her into Siege. She just, like, the utility that she adds, she makes your team so much faster. Like, you just start pumping out. She does so many call assists. It's just like a stacked kit. I remember when we first saw it, I was like, I don't think we need to do anything to this, and we hardly did because it was just an outstanding kit. Character-wise, I've always loved Renee Montoya. I think it's interesting that we got her as Question, but in any sense, I'm happy that she's here. And I think the art, it's probably one of the easiest arts they ever had to do. Most of the time when we have problems with the art in this game, it's because their face is so awful. And Question has no face, so that just eliminated that problem. But yeah, I would say I think we're in good shape, and I think anybody competing in Siege. I mean, I've seen Costly, you hovering top 20. Josh, you're hovering top 20 as well. Like, I think you all will get enough to make her relevant in raids and stuff, which is
she's
nice.
So annoying to fight against. I'm just like, every time I fought against her, I'm just like, there are times when I do a match and then I think the first time I fought her, I killed her really fast. I'm like, okay, not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I don't know what all the hoopla is about. But then there was one match where she just like went off, and I'm like, I'm not taking a turn, and it was awful.
I will blame you, Doomsday, for one thing here, which is, like, again, I'm very happy that you won raids, but a side effect is that every owl has Question, and they are dominating Siege. Like, they've got L5s, like, they went to town on, which makes sense, but it's like, oh God, it's so annoying. I don't think we've ever had a circumstance where the Siege character of the month that so many people have had her L3, L4, L5 during the actual Siege itself. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's keep it rolling.
A lot of rebirth questions after this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's do reworks. Or do you have boosties?
Oh, I don't have reworks. You
don't have reworks? Okay, well, let's talk.
This is reworks and boosties.
Reworks and boosties. Let's talk about Flash first. The fastest flightless bird alive, the penguin. Josh, you haven't chimed in too much about some of these characters. Do you have any thoughts on the old Ozzie?
Penguin is I like him a lot now. Like, he's so solid. Because before he was a little tanky, right? When he would start taunting, it would be annoying when he tank. Yeah. And it's just, I feel like it's just even more now. But I'm really liking him. Like, I've only used him really in Siege, but actually, you know what? I'll take the Siege team into Wraith, and it does amazing. Enchantress, Ultraman, Ivy, Penguin. But yeah, man, like, Penguin's great. Like, I think he's just that speed. It's so funny that it's the thing that kind of killed Kaga was Kaga used to be the one that would go fastest and then turn everyone down. And everyone's like, how are we going to fix Kaga? We can't just do that again. Well, I guess you can with Penguin. You just make him the fastest and have him turn everyone down. I guess it works. So, that's an idea for Kaga, but it's great. You can either, if you have him with Lex, I've heard Lex is a good leader, so I use him every now and then. With Penguin, you're going to go first. You do a quick buff, and then you're off to the races. And so it's like, Penguin's great. And then he, that buff purge, or the buff purge on the basic.
Basic is so good. It totally destroys Harley and Nightwing. Like he just steals all their evasions.
Yeah.
And now he has taunt and evasions. I'm like, okay,
and then
he's the new Harley.
He's drowning him and Ivy together, but just Penguin alone is drowning these tunes in so many debuffs that even in Siege, when the enemy team cannot get them off fast enough. Like I mentioned earlier, that with Ivy has been so clutch for me in the Siege, because I can just bleed out the other team, even if it's an Enchantress lead, because that's usually how I kill Enchantress, with Ivy bleeds, because they just can't purge enough. With Penguin dropping 10 crit chance downs or whatever the thing is, I don't even know, but just drowning them in debuffs, and they can't do anything. Like, they just you slip the bleeds in there every other attack, and then, good night. This Penguin tucks you in.
The only thing that worries me here, and I think the whole thing of not being able to do Kaga again was because it wasn't going to make sense, in the speed lore wise of the game, right? It doesn't make any sense that Cobblepot's faster than some of the other Flashes. The Flashes should be the fastest in the game.
Zubaz.
But beyond that, what I'm a little afraid of here is anytime a speed element gets introduced like this, it kind of breaks the game for a little bit, or becomes a dominant thing where it's I think we got to a good spot with Black Flash where you sometimes would see Aquaman and Black Flash, but not all the time, because there was answers to that. Whereas now there's really no reason not to run
Aquaman Penguin teams now. Yeah. He's the new Black Flash.
So Zubaz, what did the NDA group think when they saw that speed for Penguin?
So the immediate reaction was, this is a mistake.
Right.
This is there's no way that this is accurate. And the only reason that I was like, maybe this isn't a mistake, and this is something that has kind of bled out. So I'm not revealing anything that a lot of folks don't know already, but they have pitched some extremely high speed tunes to us. Aben Sur was supposed to be about 138. Making him by far and away the fastest tune in the game. Naomi was, I want to say 133, something to that effect. Flatline was 134, something like that.
What's happening?
And there's two things happening. One, I think the biggest thing is I think that they're never going to address Spectre as an actual Spectre needs to be nerfed. And so I think what they're doing is just slowly but surely power creeping the rest of the roster so that ultimately he becomes just so much less of a threat. And so if that means that some of these characters are going to have outrageous stats in certain categories, speed being chief among them, so be it. I think that's really kind of what we're looking at here. But the other reaction was, and this was not something I said, my approach has generally been, they give us something really good, let's just take it. Yeah. I did not necessarily advocate. I will advocate for gear changes that I think make more sense, and that can have a huge impact on speed. But if they put a character that's got 140 speed in front of me, why am I going to say no to that? But there are other NDA members who basically have taken the stance that 130 that's the speedster line. Everybody above that should be a speedster, and anybody who's not a speedster should be below that. And for the last several months, those characters that I mentioned, we were able to get them to lower those characters below that line. And then for Penguin, we assumed that we would be able to get them to lower that character, and then they just said, nope, Penguin's going to be really fast now. So I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see, I don't know for sure, I think we're going to see a lot of faster characters, though, high speeds, and then what will ultimately happen is one-time speed adjustment, or they're just gonna be okay, all the speedsters plus 10, if that makes you all stop complaining about this, whatever. But I think we're gonna start to see, you on your stream, Josh, you always used to say 120.
Yeah, 120 was.
120 was like, that's a good fast character, and I think 130 is going to be the new 120.
Yep. Could be.
So that's old Ozzie Cobblepot. Let's talk about Ivy then.
Let me check the timer on here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ivy boosties, Ivy, poison, Ivy, as Josh said. Yeah. I'll talk about this one a little. I don't know who it was on like the NDA group or the devs or whoever who would possibly put together a kit that functions extremely well with this synergy between Enchantress, Poison Ivy, and Swamp Thing. Like, I don't know who would have like thrown that together.
A selfless
suggested any moves, but I have personally benefited from that, and I want to thank that person, whoever that hero is.
Must be like a somebody who likes magic and plants.
I get, I will never know. We'll never know. But
we'll likes aqua and animals.
But man, oh man, I mean, Ivy is a lot of fun now. I think that there were several like important changes that were made to her kit. We've had a lot of folks come back after the rework was released and say, "Oh, I kind of miss that she doesn't do bleeds when she gets hit anymore." And then I just turn around and be like, "When has Ivy ever survived for you? You know, like she was so squishy. So it's like you don't want a squishy character to get hit to have to do something because you're gonna probably kill them." And so we tackled that in two different ways. One, obviously, just switching that off. She doesn't have to be hit anymore, which makes sense because she throws taunts on other characters. But also, two, she gains stamina ups. And one of the things that this hero proposed was that in the way that Swamp Thing heals folks as the avatar of the green, is he does it through mends and through overheal. And Poison Ivy, a little bit of a flip on that is she does it through stamina ups. So she heals all of her allies with just tons and tons of stamina ups, and she herself gets them too. So it's basically that's Ivy's version of healing as the green is these stamina ups. We wanted to respect that she basically is like the queen of toxins in the DC universe. And so that's why you do see that disease in her kit now, which has been really effective. That for me, I think she ties in well with some of these other new disease characters that have been really good. I will say it was a last second switch that did change stuff. So Ivy, she applies disease passively when any ally is healed, which is still a very good skill. But the big change was, and this was something that we did not propose and that they really flipped on us, was that her fourth skill was now going to be a passive. Her heal, which we had as an active heal, which would trigger her second passive or her only passive, all of a sudden was made into a passive itself, which means that she can no longer open her own gate on her disease application. Kind of a bummer. The trade-off is that she's doing this passive heal all the time now. Like, I have seen an enemy Ivy start her turn with the heal, the 4, do the 4 as her active move, and then end the turn like healing like herself, basically. Like, it just over and over.
She does a lot of stuff. Like, when I watched the first time I watched her play, she just keeps doing that thing, whatever she does. And what's happening when she does that? Because I just let it happen.
It's a big plant. It's a big plant.
I just don't know what's going on. Like, what is happening to them? Are they getting stamina ups or?
They're getting a lot. They're getting debuffs transferred away from them. They're getting stamina ups, because what they did was they actually combined her old 3 skill with her old 4 skill into one. And so it's this weird transfer of debuffs plus copying buffs plus healing through stamina ups. And an overheal.
There's a lot of words in this kit. I'm trying to read the kit right now, and I'm like, I get halfway down, I'm like, I don't know. It's a
paragraph. It's a paragraph.
It's a lot.
what I think the end result though was like people are like, I don't know exactly what she's doing all the time, but she keeps my team alive.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Like it's
and
just...
so I'm really happy with how she turned out. I did finally take her RB5 this month. I now have enough for like RB6 close to it at some point, but no, I think she's great. I think she's a lot more accurate to her lore, and I think she's getting use, and I think she's going to be even more useful in like Nightmare Challenge and stuff like that, because that one of her old problems was that copy skill, which is a great skill, was on a 5-turn cooldown.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's constantly lowering because of her new passives that she has. And so you can use that almost every turn, it feels like. And so you'll be able to copy awareness, damage immunity, permanent buffs. You know, you'll be able to copy Spectre's permanent intelligence ups and just breeze through stuff. Copy somebody's permanent strength ups or speed or whatever. And yeah.
You know what's interesting is when I've been using Ivy, because those diseases are so important for me to get Enchantress dead sometimes, because I can't get to her, but I need her off the board. Those diseases have been doing it. Is there'll be times when I could do the buff copy to copy damage immunity for the team, but even because that sounds great, you know, that's kind of what I did at the very first. But then I realized it's even more important to start stacking those diseases. Like that's what I've been doing is like I won't copy that the damage immunity every now and then, you know, when the situation matters. But I'm really going for that disease because man, oh man, like I was saying, there's too many debuffs, and Enchantress and Ultraman, and you know they can't get them all off, and those diseases hit, and next thing you know, the team's dead. And Ivy's great. She's
and her basic hits a lot harder now.
Oh, it hits hard. Yeah, it hits
stronger. Like, and it's the weird. You know, we've only seen it from Chemo before, but she's got the bleed disease combo on her basic.
I love it,
which is a lot of fun. So,
Doomsday, how are you liking Ivy?
Oh, she's great, man. I mean, everything's the best, as said, basically. Yeah, I normally just pair her up, obviously, with Penguin. Man, you know, you have Penguin with the crit chances down, and you have Ivy with the 7-ups, and it's like you're fighting a box of kittens, man. Like that other team isn't going to hurt you.
Yeah, you're getting the shields and the healing. It's
it's so much going on, and you know, it's been a pretty good month. I'm surprised at how well, you know, the reworks and the new tools turned out to be. So.
Yeah, I'm calling it right now. This is gonna be in contention for Toonies this year for best month. I can guarantee you this month.
I can see that.
There's been some good months. There's been some really good months. So
Toonies are around the corner. I'm excited.
I know. Bootsy Collins. Let's talk about these Bootsies real quick. Very quick on this.
Super quick, because
Catwoman. I mean,
I honestly haven't checked out any of these yet. So
you know, you know what sucks is I've been saying for a long time, like, oh, Catwoman's one of the reds I'm gonna take up, but even now I'm still, because I think it was for that, like the dark side thing, you know, to steal all those stuff. But I feel like there's so many ways now. I don't know.
Donna Troy. I mean,
I haven't used her that much. I have her Rebirth 1, I think. So she, what did they do? Just bumped her up, right? I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. I mean, the complaint was she died too easily.
Right?
Yeah.
The big controversial one, Miss Wonder Girl. A lot of folks were like, "Did she need a boost?" Whatever, Josh. You have her high RB. What do you think?
That was a dream. That when I saw that she was it, I just yes. And you know what? I'm gonna call them out again. I swear. You showed me a picture in chat, and M4, I'm saying his name, gave her, like, downgraded her after the boost to B. What is, I don't understand what's happening. She was S tier before, and now she's even stronger and better, and it's just
faster, which is like, that's, you can now do her strength up move before Yarrow floor.
Yeah, like it's, what else she is better now, and it's insane. Like it's just a dream, you know. Like I have RB5, and it's just, and I feel it. Like I can see it. That whip hits harder. The punches come down. It's great. Like do another one on her next month. That's what I just want to say.
I just want to say, I am so thankful. Thank you, Zubaz, for talking me out of buying RB5 Wonder Girl last month.
Oh, did you not get her?
Thank you. That was.
Did I? What did I say? I told you not to get her.
Yeah, you did.
I told so many
I don't
people
even
on
remember
stream.
that.
Oh man.
It was before the Crime Alley cast last month. We were talking about it, and I was talking about who I wanted to take, and then I think you and Josh both convinced me that
There's no way
no, it was Zubaz, and it was both of you guys because you were like, oh, she'll have more cells later on. It's fine. Save your money.
That's DaBoy.
Save your gems for it.
No,
DaBoy wasn't there, but no, that is true. She comes up for sale all the time.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Because I am eventually going to take her RB5 though.
Oh man, because
probably Donna
I told
as well.
people so
Because
many times.
if I look at it, I think I'm only missing like one Wonder character not being RB5.
Doomsday, you loving her too, man?
I'm loving her. Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers. I think we're seeing, what's happening with her. We're going to see with Spectre down the line. I think, they're going to power creep everybody around. It happened with her. They power crept everyone around her because they couldn't find a way to nerf her. And then they're just going to give Spectre a stat boost. Like
People are going to be crying for the stat boost.
Oh my god! My words. That's what's happening. Spectre, and that will screw up all those little 10-5ers rosters. Oh, I can't wait for that day. No, I mean Wonder Girl.
She's gonna like.
I think the meta has become buff heavy again, where people would constantly run that Dark Side, Terra, Supergirl, Spectre team.
Oh, I love it.
And people would be like, "Oh, bring Wonder Girl," and she would still die. And now you can bring her, and she does what she's supposed to do. So I think it was an interesting decision. I will say this: she was not the initial decision. We were given 4 characters. She was not on that list. And then they circled back later and said, okay, we're going to drop this one and we're going to bring her in. And it shocked and surprised
job,
us.
WB.
Yeah,
great job.
So,
this is great.
And then the last one, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze got a stat nerf, kind of. He is faster, which is nice for him. He has more strength, which does absolutely nothing for him since he does all special damage. And then they lowered his intelligence, his HP as a special tank, and his stamina.
More like Mr. Sneeze, because you just sneeze on him now and he dies,
Yeah. There's, Costly, you have him RB5. I know you said you hadn't played with him much. The folks that have been like, well, it didn't seem like it did anything, which is the whole point of this. I cannot promise anything, but I do believe we are going to get a stat adjustment on that. I think it was a case where the person who was working on that just forgot that he was a special damage character so they were purposely trying to lower his intelligence and raise his strength, which they thought would be helpful, and in fact really, really hurt him. So, all right, so. We've talked a lot about Siege already.
Yeah, we can
Ouija.
Ouija.
Yes. I would have liked it better if you did like a Ouija board, like OUIGA. Ouija. We've talked a lot about it already. It's these bizarre tennis volleyball matches of debuffs, bleeds, diseases, where I have gone from all of my tunes in the red, and I think I'm so screwed. And then Enchantress lays down some DI, and then their entire team dies, and I've won, and I'm like, this is great. So it's been fun. We'll talk about it more on the next episode. Very briefly, before we hit the lightning round with Doomsday, relevant media, the favorite every week.
I don't even have a thing for it.
Have any? Costly, do you have any relevant media that you are dying to talk about?
I mean, just Batman versus Robin came out this week. It's good. So far, I'm only halfway through it, but I'm liking what I've seen so far. And then beyond that, Flashpoint Beyond 5 came out last week. And
I think one of the reasons we can't talk about relevant media is because DC has canceled all of it. They've canceled all their shows. Like everything that comes out of DC is like, this is postponed another year. This is never happening. Like, so.
Oh, wait. Well, you know what we can talk about? Black Adam trailer 2. Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
I don't like watching trailers, and
okay.
but I ended up stumbling across it, and Just how many trailers are? I feel like there's been 20 of them already.
There's literally only been 2.
That's not
Well,
what
there's
it
only
feels like.
been there's only been 2 like official ones, but they've been teasing this for
Yeah, I just feel
5
like
years.
so
Longer than that.
things.
I will say I thought the
Yeah.
trailer looked good personally. So
And fandom is canceled. There's no fandom for DC in 2022, which is like that made me laugh so much. They were talking at Comic-Con like, oh, like yeah, DC's not gonna have a big presence here because they're saving it for fandom, and then there's no fandom.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
hey,
I think they're reshuffling everything, so it's like I don't think they have anything to talk about right now. Like they're reshuffling everything. Like, don't get me wrong, I think I'm actually excited to see what they decide they're gonna go with. Because like before, like I think I said this in the last episode too, there wasn't really a plan before. And like even if it's like a horrible plan, I'd rather see a plan than no plan. Like it's like
Yeah, that's true.
it's like I mean, my point is like if it's a horrible plan, we can point out to them that it's a horrible plan. Like there was no way to tell what they were doing with anything they were doing beforehand. It was just it's kind of like how DC Comics is right now as like a comic company. There's nobody like leading up the charge. Nobody's at the helm. Like there's just
it's not even DCComics.com anymore, man.
Yeah,
it's just
DC.com.
DC.com. They're no longer a comics company. They're a something.
Doomsday, do you read comics?
Very, very seldomly, man. I've read let's see, Blackest Night. I did the Dark Side Wars.
Ooh,
I think that's it. Can't think of any other one. Infinite Crisis, but that was years ago. I have to brush up on that, but yeah, I think those are probably 3 of the 4 or 5 that I've read.
Nice.
I mean, you guys heard what happened in Flashpoint Beyond 5, right? The big thing.
No, I don't want to hear it either.
Oh yeah, Josh is forever catching up.
I'm gonna do it.
It was all over everywhere. Like
I don't. If I'm trying to avoid spoilers, I avoid them. That's what I do.
I did enjoy.
Revealed.
Yeah.
Is he trying to sneak it in just now? I didn't hear it, but like I just said.
Edit out and post. I am still very much enjoying the Poison Ivy series. It's kind of still my favorite thing going. I really enjoyed the first that we had of the Batman One Bad Day series. We had Riddler's One Bad Day.
Dude, that was so good.
Very controversial issue, but yeah.
It's a standalone.
Standalone.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the idea. It's One Bad Day.
Quick question. You said Poison Ivy run right now. Have they ever done anything again with Poison Ivy's kids? Her little no? Okay. They're just out there trying to live their lives.
They briefly made like a visual appearance in the Swamp Thing series.
Okay.
But other than that,
that's fine.
Nothing.
I mean, it's not. That's not like if you're
hearing, was like a one side.
If you're hearing right now that Poison Ivy has kids, don't get. It's not as crazy as you think. It's just
Yeah, that was like a little mini they did. But
on the One Bad Day thing, if that's what the concept is for all the rest of the ones that are coming out, which is basically it's like Killing Joke for that character, I'm so down for it. Like, it was such a good book. Now, Zubaz, do you know what I was referencing though with Flashpoint Beyond? I just want to get a yeah or nay from you on. Did you think it was a good thing they did that or a bad thing?
I want to be very clear when I say that I think that everything happening with the mainstream continuity is awful.
I meant specifically the thing that came out of there. So, but I think I didn't like it. So,
okay.
For people that know what we're talking about,
we're on the same page. The one Riddler thing, and it's not a spoiler because it's not central to the plot necessarily of what was happening, but it may be of interest to some of the folks here. They basically, at least this particular issue, and we don't know if it's true because it's an unreliable narrator, right? It's Riddler telling this story, so he could just be blustering to the GCPD. But he effectively takes credit for a lot of what happens in the Killing Joke. He basically says, like, Joker could have never done. I gave him the blueprints to get in their house, and I gave him the timing and everything. Like, he masterminded Killing Joke. And there were a lot of people online who are very upset about that. And they made Riddler a lot more scary, dangerous, powerful, OP. Even like basically he knows who Bruce Wayne is. Like he can do whatever he wants, and he just tiptoes around it because he's Riddler.
See, my biggest thing when I was reading it is, I just assumed this is like out of continuity, because like especially with the way it ends and everything, it has to be. Like
maybe.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think it's one of those deals. I mean, Killing Joke was out of continuity when it first came out,
and then it wasn't.
Yeah. But it's like you're giving up a lot of things if you make this into continuity.
Sure.
Like you're really changing up a lot of characters.
I'm gonna read it tonight. I'm gonna do it tonight.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a little pricey. It's a little long. It's a 60-page thing. Doomsday.
60 pages? Oh my god.
Yeah, it is. 60 pages.
All right.
Gosh, lightning round.
Lightning round. Doomsday, you ready?
Shoot.
He doesn't know the questions, and so this is just answer first thing that comes in your head. Here we go.
You got it.
Would you rather be able to fly or teleport?
Teleport.
Would you rather be a Green Lantern or an Atlantean?
Green Lantern.
Would you rather date Wonder Woman or Zatanna?
Oh shit. That's a tough one. Zatanna. I think Zatanna.
There it is.
Yeah, honestly.
Would you rather have X-ray vision or heat vision?
X-ray vision.
Okay. Perfect. And would you rather win Siege or win the TOL?
TOL.
There it is. That's the lightning round. Costly lightning bolts. Lightning bolts on the side.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Doomsday, for those wonderful answers. But thank you again for joining us tonight. This was awesome. Anytime you want to swing by, just let us know. Yeah. And thank you all for listening. This has been a lot of fun. We're gonna hop back to our irregular schedule after this.
I just moved. Is kind of one of the big delays. I'm not in my look behind me. I'm in a new place, so this is my first time getting my camera turned on. So it's a thing. But
congratulations. The one thing that we will apologize for is in the Crime Alley posts that we have. There's always a list of the streams. It says Costly streams weekly, Josh streams daily, DaBoy and I don't know that those are happening. So
I'm coming back. I'm telling you.
The only one that hasn't done any false advertising here is me. I've never told you I was going to stream, and I never did. So we'll get the ball back rolling on that. But thank you guys again. This was awesome. Any final words here at anybody?
CG Ouija.
CG Ouija, let's wrap it up. All right. See y'all in probably October.
Bye, everybody.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks for watching the Crime Alley cast. Hit the like button, give us your rave reviews in the comments, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell for updates on future episodes. If seeing our dashing faces makes you self-conscious about your own patchy facial hair, check out the audio-only version, available on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Podbean. And don't forget to check us out live streaming DC Legends and other games throughout the week using the links below. See you next time, Gotham.